Welcome to the first episode of All Around. I'm your host, Cardell Dudley. Before we get into all the topics that I have on today's show, I want to explain what All Around is. It's not the focus. The focus is a collective effort. Even though it is under the focus umbrella, what this is an extension of the MAG. And this will allow me to kind of go deeper into basketball on the local scene and beyond. Obviously, with the focus, we only have an hour show, so it's not a, and we're covering a lot of sports. So it's hard to get all of the basketball content I would like to get in there, as well as the mag. The mag can only be so big, so so many pages. So with this, I can really just go dig deeper, and just really try to do a better job of bringing a lot more attention to hoops that's going on because there's a lot of outstanding hoops stories going down right now, and it's at all levels. So just y'all rock with me, man. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get there, and we gonna get around to everybody slowly but surely. Had the pleasure of this past weekend of going up to Lewis, Delaware, Cape Henlopen High School, covering Slam Dunk to the Beach, which is one of the most prestigious high school tournaments you can be in. They have a lot of big time, not just individual talent, but winning programs. That's what I love about it. It's not just about getting the top ranked players and just bringing them in and seeing if they could do battle. No, they actually get winning programs. And it's actually one of the few tournaments and showcases during the high school season that I feel where if you're an underrated player, under the radar player, but you're on a winning team, it's your chance to make a name and potentially get that offer that you always dreamed of. And that's what makes this, event so special. The history speaks for itself. I mean, some of the greatest basketball players ever have played in it. LeBron them played in it, Carmelo. I can go on and on. Even recently, Mo Bamba, Cam Reddish. And currently in college, you got Chris Lights from the area down in Miami. He put on the show there. Chris Hill, who played with the Miami Heat, played in South Carolina. The list goes on and on, man. It's a great tournament, and this year was no different. It was the same type of atmosphere, same type of excitement, a lot of talent on hand, and there was a lot of guys who rose to the occasion. And I'm gonna get started with that. I broke down the standouts into three teams based on, in my eyes, who played the most consistently throughout the weekend. Not necessarily the biggest names, just, guys that, you know, every time I saw them, they came to play. And, sometimes it could get fatigue set in. You could play games on back-to-back days. You got to understand every team there is pretty much competing for state champ or prep championships wherever they at in the country. So you don't really have a night off. So, if you, to me, can bring it in both games that you play, if you play two games, some come and play one game based on their schedule, then that means something to me. That's consistency, and that's what it's all about. I'm going to get started with the third team. First up, Joe McNair. Name probably is familiar. He's a senior guard for Eleanor Roosevelt. To me, he was one of the most consistent scorers this season. Not just for Roosevelt overall, but even during slam dunk to the beach over the weekend. He just know how to put the ball in the basket. No, he's not the best athlete or the most the player with the most flair and flamboyance, but he get the job done. And at the end of the day, the results is the only thing that matter. Against Albany Academy, McNair scored a game high 19 points on 9 of 13 shooting from the field. And in the win over Dover, McNair was once again efficient, finishing with 13 points on 5 of 8 shooting from the field. He can score and doesn't need a lot of shots to do so, which makes it even more special. Today, I don't have to tell you, man, you look at every level, man. The shot selection is crazy, you know what I'm saying? And efficiency is kind of ignored, but the old saying is, man, if you get 30 shots, you should be able to get 30 points. That's with anybody with any reasonable amount of talent. That's not something to be, praised. But if you can get 30 off of a few shots, like what I just explained with McNair, that's dangerous. You have to account for that guy at all times because he doesn't need a lot to take you out. And that's what makes it special. He has a handful of offers, but, I expect more programs to come calling soon because of what I just said, his ability to put the ball in the hole. He's a solid defender, and he's efficient at doing so. Next up is Malachi Smith, prototype New York point guard in the sense that he has the skill and flair but understands how to play the game. Another thing about Smith that I love is he takes on the challenge defensively as well. Full court all game long. his goal is to try to erase you from the game. I can respect that type of competitive drive. That drive was pivotal in helping, lead St. Raymond's to a 2-0 record, this past weekend. In the blowout win over Cape Henlopen, Smith finished with 17 points, 8 of 12 shooting, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and 5 steals. And then the win over Gil St. Bernard, he posted 12 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and 5 steals. Once again, getting it done on both ends. Smith, he fills numerous offers as well. He's just a junior, so he's going to have his fair share as well. C.J. Wilcher, senior guard, Roselle Cavley, he had a solid first game of 14 points and 4 rebounds in a win over Sanford School. But he went off against First Love out of Pennsylvania. The future Xavier Musketeer exploded for a game-high 26 points and 7 rebounds on 9 of 18 shooting from the field, 3 of 9 from deep, and 5 of 7 from the charity stripe. First Love had no answer for the 6'5" guard. Wilcher should have a smooth adjustment when he enrolls at Xavier. He's already that ahead. He's already that talented, that good, and understands what he has already. He just needs to learn Xavier's system, get acclimated with his teammates, and I think he's going to make an immediate impact when he gets there. Dylan Adewusu, 6'4", but he's a beast. When I mean a beast, like he's a bully. He's the boy big, man. He don't play games, man. You know what I'm saying? He knows he's a beast. He bullied his way to 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, in a win over Rock Creek Christian and for our Savior Lutheran. And then he came even stronger, finishing with the game-high 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in a win over Legacy Charter. The St. John's commit is nearly unstoppable in transition, driving to the basket, but he's also an adequate shooter. You have to guard him when he pulls up from all 3 levels, 3-point range, mid-range, and high post on the move. He's just a nightmare for most guards to try to contain. Last but not least is a local kid, but he transferred down south. Isaiah Cornish, he's out of Baltimore, but he plays at Legacy Charter, which is in South Carolina. I remember seeing him at States a couple years ago, but he's leaps and bounds ahead of where he was when he left, Baltimore to go down south. He's become a lethal scorer and versatile defender. Scary thing is Cornish knows he can go to work on most defenders with ease now. He's 6'6", he has great length. Combined with being able to score from all 3 levels, he can shoot with range. He leaves, coaches with very few options that can slow him down one-on-one. Cornish posted 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals in the overtime loss to Our Savior Lutheran out of New York. And then the win over Immaculate Conception, Cornish posted 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in the win. His performances over the weekend were so impressive. He picked up an offer from Georgetown head coach Pastor Ewing on the spot, who was there in attendance front and center. So that's what this showcase can bring. Now I'm moving on to the second team, and I'm going to touch on Lewis Courtwright. Never heard of him entering the showcase, but he's definitely on my radar moving forward. Skywalker, 6'3" guard, was one of the more consistent players all weekend. I love him because he can impact the game at all aspects right now. A lot of people get praise for being able to impact the game. It seems like these days just on the offensive end, but I look at you and mostly just scoring and how you score with flair. But I look at, do you make the players around you better? Meaning, do you not only do you pass them the ball, do you pass them the ball in spots where they can be most effective? See, that's the key right there. And also, can you defend? Can you defend on the ball? Can you defend when guys are moving? Can you get over screens? Do you put forth the effort? And even when you rotate, do you rotate and try to help your man who may get beat? You know what I'm saying? Can you rebound well, which is an extension of defense and ends defense, which people seem to ignore. He could do all of it. In a win over Cape Henlopen, Courtwright posted 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 7 steals in 20 minutes. Yes, I said 7 steals. Like I said, he gets it done in every way. And in a victory over Gil St. Bernard, Courtwright posted 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. The 6'3" guard is a streaky shooter, but he can slash with the best of them. And while being a solid playmaker. So, definitely keep an eye on him moving forward. Obviously plays for St. Raymond's, just to throw that out there. Isaiah Wilson, 6-foot point guard. Richmond commit, came up big in the clutch in the win over Hudson Catholic. Wilson was played by foul trouble all game. But he came back in the fourth, scored 6 of his 14 points in the final 5 minutes, 32 seconds during the 12-3 run to close Hudson out. In a tough loss to Roselle Catholic, Wilson elevated his game even more, posting a team high 21 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. He's blurred. That's one of his biggest strengths is his speed. And he utilizes it not just on offense and defense. He's fearless, but he competes every second. That's what I like about him. He competes. He has a winning mentality. For him, the game ain't over till they sound the buzzer and the clock is on all zeros. He competes every second he's on the floor, and I think he exuded that winning mentality all weekend long, which kept them, which kept First Love in the game in both games against tough competition, even though they were kind of undersized, and that's key. You don't see that as much anymore. Another Eleanor Roosevelt guy, Quentin Mincy, gotta shout him out. Swiss Army knife wing. He almost led Roosevelt to a win over Albany Academy, who has a guy we'll be mentioning soon, Andre Jackson, who's committed to Connecticut, who's one of the top-ranked wings in the country. He finished with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals, again in a loss to Albany Academy, and then Roosevelt went over Dover, a Dover team that's competing for a state championship, one of their better teams out in Delaware. He finished with a game-high 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Messi has an all-around skill set. He has good quickness, speed, leaping ability. For me, I like to see him aggressive. Sometimes I think he get caught up in trying to play the team game, and rightfully so. I'm not saying come out there and take shots, James Harden style. That's not what I'm saying. But I think when you got a mismatch and you got an opportunity, I want to see him utilize it, because when he's aggressive, Eleanor Roosevelt's a totally different team. They're hard to beat. When he's passive, they can key in on certain guys, take them away, and then it's a dogfight, or they coming from behind. And they don't have the firepower this year like they did last year to overcome it. Bottom line is when he's aggressive doing this thing, his teammates feed off of it, they get more confident, and Roosevelt's a completely different animal when he's aggressive. So, Mount St. Mary's definitely has a good one coming. As I just said, Andre Jackson, super athletic wing that is equally as a dangerous shooter as he is, slashing to the basket for dunks or making plays. But the thing that stood out to me is his quickness, his second jump, his quickness off the ground. I haven't seen anything like it since Sean Marion, where it's like he can literally drive to the basket, shoot a runner or a layup, let's say for example, and he misses it. But he's already coming back to the ground and exploding back up, and not just grabbing the rebound, he's grabbing the ball and dunking it before while everyone else is just hitting the ground for the first time. You see what it's unreal, and that's his edge. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to guard when you have that blend of leaping ability and the way you can get off the ground so quick, so explosive. The Connecticut mid uses Sean Marion's athleticism to post 14 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in a 47-46 win over Eleanor Roosevelt, and 16 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in a rout of Lake Clifton. Jackson has all the necessary traits to one day be playing 82 games for a living if he continues to work and do what he is fully capable of doing in Connecticut. Last on the second team is Zach Martini out of Gil St. Bernard, 6'7", Princeton commit. Sneaky, athletic, bruising forward that you can pretty much pencil in for a double-double as soon as he wakes up in the morning. Even though he does most of his damage in the paint, he's more than capable of stepping out and shooting with range. You know what I mean? He can score off the bounce as well. Like I said, the Princeton commits posted 25 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals in the win over National Christian Academy, and 12 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals in the loss to St. Raymond's. Now we're going to move on to the first team. R.J. Davis, North Carolina commit. He plays for Archbishop Stepinac. A lot of people ask me after the weekend, is he really the real deal? Is he really good? Because when they see highlights, he don't have this otherworldly athleticism. I guess like what they saw with Cole Anthony or what you see with other point guards, it don't matter, man. He knows how to play, and he's highly, highly skilled, got high IQ. He's quick and fast, which makes it hard to guard. He's shifty. He knows how to run a team. He can shoot. He can score from all 3 levels. He has all the prerequisite skills that you would want in a point guard. And that's why he's going to North Carolina. They're not going to just offer any old body, right? But his ability to control the game against a very tough Paul VI team who also brought their own highly touted point guard in Jeremy Roach was very impressive to me. Paul VI tried to defend him 94 feet. They threw in traps to try to disrupt him, and each time he dribbled his way around the defenders and either scored or made plays for others. The result was a 70-64 win for Archbishop Stepinac, with Davis finishing with a game-high 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 steals. Davis is a special talent, and while he may not have the size and, like I said, otherworldly athleticism, he makes up for that with his tenacity. Think more like he reminded me a lot of Ed Cota, and if you're a North Carolina fan, you should be very happy about that because he's one of the greatest point guards ever come to, North Carolina. He's in that mode. He's going to get the job done and be consistent getting the job done and do it well, and that's all you can ask for. And he got the job done. Davis got the job done with Roy Williams and Hubert Davis sitting baseline watching him. Trevor Kills Jr. out of Paul VI, he came out strong against Archbishop Stepinac with consistent offense, and which was in the first half defensive slugfest for both teams. His ability to score in various ways is well documented. Yet his perimeter shooting was stood out the most. He knocked down jumpers on the move, spotting up and off the bounce. The way he doesn't get sped up when he has the ball and moves at his own pace reminds me a lot of watching Paul Pierce. Keeps defenders off balance. No, I'm not saying he's going to be in the next Paul Pierce. And, these days I got to put a disclaimer out. I'm just saying it reminds me, that aspect of his game reminds me of that. It's hard to speed him up. It's hard to get him off rhythm and disrupt him, make him panic and make a mistake. He's going to do what he do. And you just got to hope he miss. Then you add in his 6'4", sturdy frame. He's not a skinny kid at all, man. He got a sturdy frame. Frame that can already bang in college, you know what I'm saying? That will be durable in college already. You see why he's a tough guard for opponents. The highly touted junior guard posted the team high 19 points and 6 rebounds, and it lost to Archbishop Stepinac. Man, next up on the first team is Adrian Griffin Jr. Man, I've seen the highlights, read the articles. This is my first time seeing him in action, and he did not disappoint. He's a freak, man. He's bigger than some pros in the league right now, seriously. 6'7", chiseled, diesel body, man. Like, he has it all. He was by far the most talented player in the event due to his combination of size, skill, and athleticism. Against Paul VI, he was the most athletic player on the floor. But it was how he utilized his skill on both ends throughout the game that ultimately helped Stepinac beat Paul VI. Paul VI put multiple fours on him. Griffin dribbled around them and scored. When Paul VI put smaller, quicker guards on him, he showed the poise of a pro by taking his time, getting to his spots before knocking down mid-range jumpers over the smaller defenders. Defensively, he grabbed a game-high 12 rebounds and had 2 crowd-pleasing blocks, including one where he rotated over and grabbed Kill's layup attempt out of the air with 2 hands, like Kenyon Martin in his prime. He finished with 18 points, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal. If he stays healthy and focused, he will certainly be playing an NBA schedule sooner than later. He's committed to Duke, and he's just a junior high school, so he's definitely has one and done potential. He's that talented. Jeremy Roach, let me just start by saying it's good to see him back on the floor, towards ACL last year, so it's good to see him back, and not just back on the floor, back me and Jeremy Roach. He's a kid that I always loved this game since I saw him for the first time as a freshman. He was way ahead than what a freshman should be, and that's why he's going to Duke. The Duke usually recruits players like that. He came out. R.J. Davis kind of put the pressure on him with his play, being aggressive, scoring and stuff. And naturally Roach wanted to just come back at him, not in a bad way. Just now you not finna come in here. He was competing, but he was cold. He couldn't make any shots. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. He overcame a cold start shooting ball to finish with a fairly efficient 17 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists. He really turned it on the second half, being ultra aggressive, attacking the basket, going 4 for 6 from the field. His relentless attacking opened things up for his teammates to get easy scoring opportunities, which resulted in Paul VI shooting 52% in the second half compared to shooting 30% in the first, like I said, when Roach was cold. Roach can do it all, and I love how he answered the challenge from R.J. Davis, as I stated before. And from the opening, R.J. Davis went at him from the opening tip to closing seconds of the game. That's rare these days. Most players would have looked for the back door when they kind of got put on the ropes, so to speak. Not him. He fought back and kind of dang near made it a stalemate in that game. The Duke definitely has a good one coming. That's without a doubt. And last but not least, we have Cliff Omarui. Hope I ain't butcher his name, out of Rosario Catholic, 6'10" forward. Uh, Super athletic, workhorse, big man with unreal length. He was dominant inside all weekend, blocking shots, rebounding, scoring it strong inside, and running the floor well. In a win over First Love Christian, Omarui posted a big-time triple-double with 17 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 blocks. I'm going to read that again. 17 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 blocks. He has all of the tools to make a big-time impact at the next level and beyond. He's pretty much offered by every major program in the nation, and rightfully so. We're going to take a quick break. Come back to you with All Around. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to All Around. I'm going to go to the college side a little bit. Um, Obviously, I was going all weekend, like I just said, with Slam Dunk, but George Washington's season continued. Just want to highlight them real quick. George Washington fell to 6-7 following their 76-51 point loss in his final non-conference game to Vermont, 76-51. Like I just said, on Tuesday afternoon, Maceo Jack led the Colonials with 12 points of 4-6 from three-point range. Amir Harris played well with 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. Chase Parr added 7 points in 11 minutes. Who's starting to get his rhythm after being out for most of the start of the season. I'm excited to see him soon. 6-7 GW will next take on the 8-5 St. Bonaventure Sunday at 4 p.m. at the Smith Center. I will be there for coverage, and we'll have a recap and a list of what happened, list of standouts as well. This upcoming Tuesday when we get back on track with the focus. Some more GW news. Freshman guard, and I'm very high on Jameer Nelson Jr. Yes, for those of you that may not know, he's the son of former NBA veteran, St. Joseph legend, Jameer Nelson Sr. He was named A10 Rookie of the Week. He shared that honor with VCU's non-Shep Bones Highland after he helped lead the Colonials over Longwood last Saturday. Nelson Jr. finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 assist, and 1 block on 53% shooting from the field and a 13-point win. Through 12 games, Nelson Jr. is 4th on the team in scoring at 11.1 points per game and has reached double figures in each of the last 5 games. On the defensive end, Nelson Jr. is 10th among all first-year players nationally, aka freshmen, in steals per game, averaging 1.8 per game, and tied for 8th in total steals, 22. Among at the A10, Nelson Jr. 6 overall steals per game and total steals. Just wanted to give a quick update on GW. I will be back heavy on that coverage. But we're going to move on to the pros. Now, as you say, All of you know it's a new year, 2020. Y'all know what's coming up in the NBA, All Star Weekend. So then who's going to be an All Star. The voting is going on. Starting to pick up, starting to get heated. Obviously, the first round of votes came in. I'm not going to get into that aspect. I'm just going to give you who I feel is deserving of being starters, not just being All Stars, but who should start, who should come off the bench. And for me, I'm not one to just do all the go off the hype and all that. It's about the substance. It's about what you do on the court, and if your team is winning. Simple as that. I'm gonna start out west. Obviously, for the starters, Luka Doncic. I mean, it's a no-brainer, especially with Steph being out. Hey man, but regardless, even if Steph was playing, if he was playing better than Steph, he deserves a nod. I think he should be the starting point guard. He's averaging 30.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, 8.9 assists, 1.2 steals, 47% shooting from the field, and he has the Dallas Mavericks 21-12, which is the 5th seed in the West currently. Very few people saw that coming, if any, and that's just a testament to him. I mean, you gotta understand, what is he, 20, 21 years old? I mean, second year in the league. He was worth the hype. He was worth the pick. He was worth the hype. And the scary thing is he's going to get better, and that's not. The league should be worried, especially once Porzingis kind of get back into his normal self. You know what I mean? It can get real ugly out west. Next up, James Harden, a no-brainer. He leads the league, 38.2 points a game, 7.5 assists, 5.8 rebounds, 1.8 steals. He's shooting 46% from the field, 38% from three, 86 from the line. Houston's 23-11. They're the 4th seed in out west. That's an easy one. LeBron James, 35. What he's still doing? He's still putting in work. Averaging 25 points a game, league leading. Yes, he's leading the league in assists at 11.1, 7.9 rebounds, and he's shooting 48% from the field, 34% from three. That free throw shooting need to get up. It's at 68%, and the Lakers are currently first in the West at 27-7. Next up, I know people are pissed about the load management. Listen, man, we're going to get into that in another show. I'm not going to get into that right now. But they're pissed about the load management in the sense that, they feel he should be playing. I'm all for that. Like, I'm totally against healthy players sitting on the bench and in street clothes and not playing. That's BS. But if you have an injury like Kawhi does where it was misdiagnosed and it potentially almost and could still end your career, I feel like you should manage that however the hell you want to manage it. Because at the end of the day, he gets hurt again. He's no longer able to play in the NBA. How many of these people that's criticizing are going to be lined up to give him the money he could have made had he been healthy? And also help him recover, get through rehab. How many of these people going to be around? All right, then. So, easy decision. But he should be starting out west, too. Even with all that being said, low management and all that, he's still averaging 25.6 points, 7.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists a game. Also 1.8 steals, 45% shooting from the field, 35 from three, 88 from the line. And with all that, him in the in and out, and the Clippers really haven't fully been healthy all year outside a couple games. They're third in the West at 24-11. They're dangerous. That's why they're title contenders. And last but not least, Anthony Davis having the impact we all expected when he finally got to the Lakers. He's averaging 27 points, 9 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 2.5 blocks, and 1.4 steals on 50% shooting from the field, 28% shooting from three, 85 from the line, and obviously the Lakers are 27-7 out west. For the reserves, I'm gonna go with Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. He's not having the year I expected him to have, but it's still all-star worthy. Averaging 18.1 points, 9.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists. He's shooting 50% from the field, 30% from three, 81% from the line. And Denver is currently second out west at a 23-10 record. Next up is Donovan Mitchell, who has elevated his game from last year. He's averaging 25 points a game, 44.6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.2 steals, 45% shooting from the field, 35% shooting from three, 83% shooting from the line. And Utah, after getting to a horrible start, slow start, they're picking it up. They're starting to accumulate some wins, and they're 21-12, and they currently sitting in the 6th seed out west. This name may surprise people, but if you've been watching the NBA, watching games, it shouldn't. I'm gonna put Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as a reserve on All-Star game. Young fella been balling. I don't know, y'all gotta get league pass or watching something. Y'all gotta get away from the Lakers and all these whoever the league trying to put on TV all the time and watch the other teams. This boy been balling, giving people work. He's averaging 19 points, 5.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.2 steals, shooting 45% from the field, 35% from three, 81% from the line. So he's scoring, he's playmaking, and he's efficient. What more can be said? And he's defending, obviously. So what more can be said? And OKC, after losing Paul George and Russell Westbrook, only really adding Chris Paul, they're 18-15. They're 7th out west right now. They're in the playoff race. They're winning. Enough said. Rudy Gobert, averaging 14.8 points, 14 rebounds, 1.9 blocks, on 68% shooting from the field. Utah 21-12, 6th seed. He should be the backup center, another center for me. Russell Westbrook, averaging 24.2 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.5 steals. Houston's 23-11, the 4th seed out west. Paul George, I know he had an injury he had to overcome at the beginning of the season, but he's played all-star worthy since he's returned. He's averaging 23.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.5 steals. His efficiency overall from the field need to get better. I know he said he's still trying to adjust with his shoulders, not thinking when the contact's about to come instead of just powering through it before he got hurt like he normally would do. That's going to take time. It's a mental thing, but he's shooting that 42% from the field, has to improve. But on the bright side, he's shooting 38% from three and 91% from the line. So, yeah, you can foul him if you want. He's going to make you pay. And Dame Lillard, I think he should get the last nod. He's averaging 26.7 points, 7.6 assists, 4.3 rebounds. But I think he needs to pick it up a little bit. He's playing well enough, but not to Dame Lillard standards that I have for him. His efficiency is down, 43% from the field. His three-point shooting is pretty standard, 35%, 88% from the line. But Portland not winning games. I know they still have some key bigs and stuff. Collins and, Kirsty, Nurkic, they're still out. But they got to find a way to, especially with Melo joining the fray, and he's adding a life, and he's proven him being out the year was a fluke. It shouldn't have happened. He's clearly has a lot left in the tank. They got to put together some wins because you can't go from being in the Western Conference Finals, 3rd seed, to missing the playoffs. We're adding someone of Melo's caliber who's supposed to fill that void at the 4 and provide an offensive punch and stuff like that. That falls on him. He's a franchise player. Last year, the season he had, we gave him praise. We got to look at him this year as why they're not getting it done. He has to, he got to find a way to elevate the team. They're too talented not to be in the playoff race. And we're going to move out east. Starting point guard, I'm going to roll with Kemba Walker. Averaging 22.5 points, 5.2 assists, 3.9 rebounds, 43% shooting from the field, but he's shooting nearly 40% from three, 87% from the line. And the Boston Celtics are 23-8. They're the 2nd seed out east. Jimmy Butler, I've loved what he brought to Miami Heat, how he set the tone for them, for a young Miami Heat team who nobody was kind of really looking at, to kind of be where they are right now, which is 3rd in the East at 24-9. He's averaging 20.8 points, 6.6 assists, 6.6 rebounds, and 2 steals. His efficiency need to get better as well. He's only shooting 43% from the field and 27% from three and 82% from the line. But that can get better. But, his leadership and the tone he set with the workouts and all that is paying dividends right now. Pascal Siakam, oh, man, he elevated his game. I know he's been hurt lately, but riding the wave of the Toronto winning the championship last year, and he emerged most improved and kind of became the, Scottie Pippen to Kawhi Leonard's, Jordan role, I guess, with that team. He's proven that, he's indeed worthy of being an all-star, and he may be in a Jordan role in a sense where he's leading the team to the championship. He has the ability to do that down the line if he keeps improving. He's averaging 25.1 points, 8 rebounds, 3.6 assists per game on 45% shooting from the field, 39% shooting from three, and 81% shooting from the line. and Toronto's 23-11, currently sitting in the 4th seed. No brainer. Greek-free Giannis Antetokounmpo. Averaging 30.4 points, 13 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1.2 steals, 1.2 blocks, 55% shooting from the field, career high 33% shooting from three. The free throw shooting has to get better, 59% from the line, and the Bucks have the best overall record in the league, 31-5. And ain't really much you can say about him. Like I said, the free throw will get better because I'm kind of scared in the playoffs they're gonna go to hack a Giannis and try to exploit that to slow him down because that's really all you could do. But when he's hitting threes and his on his game, it's night night, as Kevin Hart would say. Starting center Joel Embiid, his impact is clear. When he's not on the floor for the Sixers, they lose. Simple as that. They're a totally different team. But when he's on the floor, they're a problem. And they're the one team that gives the Bucks issues because, the addition of Al Horford, but Joel Embiid, they have guys that could deal with Greek Freak straight up. And they don't have to really double in the sense. It's kind of like it's a checkmate. They going back and forth. So, whoever plays the best out of those bigs is going to win. And they've already, have an impressive win over the Bucks out and that went down on Christmas. So, but Embiid is averaging 23.7 points, 12.4 rebounds, 3.1 assists, 1.4 blocks, 47% shooting from the field, 33% shooting from deep, and 83% shooting from the line. The Sixers are 23-13, 6th seed currently. For the talent that they have, they should be top 4 at least. But with all that being said, it's all predicated on Embiid, and if he's healthy and doing what he should be doing, they'll be there at the end, no doubt about it. For reserves, I got Kyle Lowry, averaging 20 and 7, 4 rebounds, 36% from three. The Raptors, like I said, are 23-11, 4th in the East. Chris Middleton, averaging 18.8 points, 5.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 48% shooting from the field, 39% from three, 89% from the line. He's one of the more efficient guards in the league. The Bucks are 31-5, another no-brainer. Jaylen Brown should make his first All-Star game to me. He's been outstanding this year for the Celtics. He's averaging 20.6 points, 7 rebounds, 2.4 assists on 51% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from three, 75% shooting from the line, and the Celtics are 23-8, 2nd seed. That 40% shooting from three is huge. That just totally changed his entire game. It's opened everything up for him, and that's why he's having the season he's having. Bam Adebayo should be making his first All-Star team as well. Miami Heat center. He's averaging 15.6 points, 10.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.2 blocks, on 56% shooting from the field. The Heat are the 3rd seed, 24-9. He kind of rough Whiteside spot last season permanently. They shipped him out. They shipped Whiteside out, and Bam just proved not only did he deserve it, that he's here to stay. You're going to have to deal with him out east. Simple as that. His improvement has been impressive. And the scary thing, he's still fairly young, so he's going to get better and better. That 15-10 can easily turn into 25-12 one day, and then it's going to be ugly. Enough said. Malcolm Brogdon, his increased role in Indiana, basically getting the keys to the car in a sense, especially with Oladipo out, and he's been special. He's averaging 17.7 points, 7.4 assists, 4.4 rebounds, on 44% shooting from the field, 33% shooting from three, 93% shooting from the line. We all know he's one of the best defensive players in the league, if not the best. You got the Patrick Beverleys and guys, especially for wing players. He's tough with it, and he has the paces. Without Oladipo, still 22-12, 5th seed in the East. When Oladipo returns and he's Oladipo again, once he knocks the rust off and become Oladipo, and him and Brogdon in the backcourt, good luck with that one. Simple as that. Spencer Dinwiddie, I feel from the Nets, I feel he should be an all-star. He's averaging 23 points, 6.3 assists, 3.1 rebounds, and the Nets are 16-16, 7th seed currently. This is without KD and Kyrie, who's been out most of the season. D'Angelo Russell gone obviously in the trade, involved in the trade for, Kyrie or whatnot, picked up free agency or whatnot. Hey man, I just love what he's bringing to the table, and not he's not letting the young Nets kind of just find excuses to lose with the two stars out. He's carrying them, he's leading them, being a veteran that he is, and he's getting it done individually. There's nothing more you can say about him and nothing you can question about him. He's legit. He deserves to be there in the main game on All-Star Weekend. Simple as that. And Jason Tatum, I feel like he should make his first All-Star game. With him, Kemba, Jaylen Brown, they're a big part of why the Celtics are currently second in the East and one of the best teams in the league. He's averaging 21.3 points, 7 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.4 steals. The efficiency overall, shooting from the field, needs to improve. He's only shooting 42%, but he's shooting better from three than last year, 36%, and 84% from the line. So I think the efficiency overall will get better, but as long as he can knock down long-range shots and if you foul him, he gets to the line to make you pay, he's a big-time threat. You have to deal with him. Those are my picks for the All-Star game. I don't see it changing much. Maybe my reserve may bump out a starter if they just go on a hell of a run, but I think this will be concrete moving forward for me. I also want to address something, since we're on the NBA. I've been accused of being a James Harden hater, man. I don't understand that. I think I speak pretty good English. I'm very clear on which position I take. But people hear you. They don't listen to you these days. They hear one thing they don't like, and that's all they hear. The rest is blah blah. So I'm gonna take this time to just try to clear up this misconception that I hate James Harden. Actually, it's the opposite. I think the boy is cold, real cold, offensively. The way he can shoot with range, he can shoot off the bounce, spotting up. He can score inside, draw fouls, find guys. He's a very unique talent, man. Very unique offensive threat, man. I'm on record saying years ago that OKC made a big mistake letting not re-signing him, and he was the X factor for OKC during those years when they was getting to the finals. They lost to Heat. They was on the brink. When they beat the Lakers, after the Lakers was still trying to get back to the championship, when they had to, Bynum and Pau Gasol and all that. Kobe was he was older, but he was still Kobe, still going to light you up and do what he do. He was the guy they couldn't deal with. James Harden came in. They can kind of battle with KD and Russ. They were young. They can kind of battle them and all that. But when he came to the game, he just tore their second unit up. And then he finished games like Manu Ginobili. So now you got all three of them. And we didn't know at the time, those are three future MVPs on the court at the same time. It's hard to deal with that, man. Like, that's common sense. So, but turns out, I was right about that. They didn't recover. And look, no one from that team, that potential title contending team is still there. They blew the whole thing up. So that was the biggest, domino that began the slow fall from being a title contender to where they are now, rebuilding as far as OKC is concerned. I don't also trip like others do off of, how he baits officials to draw calls. That's called basketball. It's called vet moves. As a player, you're always looking for advantage to use to take out the other team, to use for your benefit. Harden isn't the first and isn't the last player to do that. Reggie Miller is famous. He would come off curls, catch the ball, raise up to shoot, stick his leg out, so you as the trailer trying to close out contest, will run into his leg, knock him down, he'll go to the free throw line. Now, who was initiating the contact? Obviously Reggie was, but he would get the call. So they changed the rule. The GOAT, because let's just get this out of the way on the first show. When I say the GOAT, that will only be reserved for one player, and that's Michael Jordan. We're not going to have this discussion or anything that's moving forward. That's just one of the rules. When I say GOAT, y'all know who I'm talking about, that bald-headed dude that played for Chicago and briefly with the Wizards. He would drive in a lane, jump into guys, shot blockers mainly, turn his back to him, hanging in the air, and would slap his wrist, flip the ball up. So while you're in traffic, all the refs heard was a slap and assumed it was a foul. Similar to the line. I mean, Is that bad offense? Is that bad for the game? That's just called me a smart basketball player. If I can get this easy call to get to the line and get some free points, why not? That's all I see James Harden doing. You know, even though it drove big men like a Shaq Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, etc., they would go straight up and it would still be a foul. It drove them crazy, but that's part of the game. Defenders, you have to adjust. You know what I mean? You just have to do those things. What I'm not the biggest fan of when it comes to Harden is his inconsistent effort with defense and hustle plays, but mostly it's predicated to the Rocket system. Um, I believe it becomes more of a factor once the playoffs come around, especially in the later rounds. Teams will scheme harder, they will scheme more, and give maximum effort in the playoffs. It's just how it goes, and the reason for that is you can focus on one team for however long you plan them for a week and a half or so, and the games are more spread out. If you coming in, I know they don't really do back to backs a lot. So right now, if you playing 3 or 4 games in a week instead of playing like 4 games in 5 nights, you know, you you don't have them as much time to prepare for a Harden, especially if you out east where you may play them 2 times a year. So their style will work. When they bomb you with threes and stuff, you tired. The recovery time, when you trying to rotate and stuff, you're gonna be a little slow. But in the playoffs, when it's do or die and it's more at stake, and you got more time to rest and focus on team, you taking all that away. And that's what I'm saying. That's why for the most part, when Houston gets to the playoffs, it's a different outcome as they move forward. And they play tougher teams that play better defense. Every year in the playoffs, Harden's numbers and efficiency overall goes down. I'm going to just look at last season during that 2018-2019 season. Harden averaged 36.1 points, 7.5 assists, 6.6 rebounds, and 2 steals, on 44% shooting from the field, 36 from the three, and 87% from the line during the regular season. In the playoffs that very same season, Harden numbers dropped. He averaged 31.6 points, 6.9 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 2.2 steals, on 41% shooting from the field, 35% shooting from deep, and 83% shooting from the line. In the playoffs, as a Rocket overall, Harden is shooting 41% from the field, 33% from three. While in the regular season, he's shooting 44% from the field and 36% from deep. See the difference? That difference is what's making them lose, because they're losing close games. Even against the Warriors, when they took them to the brink, the games came down to the wire. But just that drop in efficiency can be the deciding factor in a few games. I feel like Harden gets more fatigue, and it's easier to focus on him in the playoffs. In the system, that the Rockets use, where, it's 3-point happy, him at the top of the key, dribble, either shoot or drive and try to make a play or something, or find your 3-point shooters. It's a predictable offense. Even though he's so dynamic, it's still hard to guard. But I think against the better defensive teams, that's what they do. They're going to take away your first option. You're not going to be able to do the same thing. So then what you going to do? And then that's when it gets hard. It gets tougher for the Rockets. I actually think Russ will help a lot with his ability to get downhill and attack the basket, rebound, and when he's locked in, defend. He will force the defense to collapse into the lane, which will open things up for Houston's shooters, like PJ Tucker, the corner three he loves to shoot, Daniel House, Eric Gordon when he gets back, or the law will be there for Capella. So Russ will take pressure off him, but against better defensive teams, that won't work, because you gotta hope they don't turn the ball over and beat themselves. They will give Russ the jumper, and they will give him the jumper and dare him to make them at an efficient rate for them to adjust. And I don't know if y'all checked, he's having one of the worst efficient shooting seasons he's had in his career right now. He's gonna have to shoot at an efficient rate for defenses to adjust. Because like I said, I'm playing the averages. Russ, go ahead and get that jump. I'm not gonna let you just blow past me, get in the lane. Then we're rotating all over the place, and Houston will pick you apart if it comes to that. But if he doesn't shoot at an efficient rate, I'm talking about Russ, it's back to Harden at the top of the key. That hasn't worked. So what other options do you have? To me, Houston, for them to advance and finally get out the West and get to the finals, they would have to adjust that offensive system and not just have 3-point shooting be the primary focus. If they do, I think they will unlock another level of Harden as well. I mean, just think about it. Picture Harden operating out of the mid post, the high post, being able to just turn to shoot a mid-range jumper. You know what I'm saying? Or because he's so dangerous, they would have to send a double. He's too close to basket. He could drive, pass, and going left or right. They would have to collapse that easy. He got to lob to Capella or whoever collapses to try to stop him or trying to trap him or whatnot. It's 3-point shooters. But it's not as much energy because you ain't bringing the ball up. You're not at the top of the key trying to break your man down. You literally going to a spot, turning, and going to work. That's the thing I'm trying to say about Harden. They would have to adjust. One thing they did do that against the Clippers, and they ended up beating the hell out of the Clippers. And it's about matchups and stuff. They have two lethal one-on-one guys. But it started when they adjusted in the second half. They didn't just bomb them with threes. Once they adjusted, it actually made the system that they want to run, it opened that up. So they can go back to doing what they do. And the Clippers were lost. They were a step behind all night, and they paid the price. And they took that L. I just think Harden will be unstoppable by mixing things up. So that's my question when it comes to James Harden. Will the staff, will they swallow their pride and, focus on trying to win by any means necessary instead of trying to win the way they want to, which is the analytic way, winning by 3-point range? That's a question that remains, that we, so far we know the answer to, but maybe they can change. We'll see. It remains to be seen if they will adjust. But if we go by history, we know how this will play out. That's my criticism with James Harden. It's not his game. So leave me alone about that moving forward. Last but not least, before we close, I want to send condolences to the family of David Stern, who the 30-year commissioner, who passed away yesterday. He suffered a brain hemorrhage a couple weeks back and never recovered. To me, he's simply the greatest commissioner in sports, team sports history. It's a no-brainer for me. He understood what he had when he became commissioner in 1984. He had the excitement from the Lakers-Celtics rivalry, the rekindled Lakers-Celtics rivalry, led by Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, which began in the 1979 National Championship game, which created March Madness that we know today. Also, we just gotta be real. Let's not ignore the racial dynamic that was associated with that rivalry. Magic being black and Bird being white. All of that combined brought a lot to the NBA, especially coming off the 70s and an era where the drugs just almost nearly destroyed the NBA. It had become a lot of paying customers were turned off. And what I mean by paying customers, I'm mostly talking about corporate America and TV networks, because it became, in their eyes, too black. And with the drug epidemic, they just felt like black athletes couldn't be marketed. Unless you couldn't really be marketed at all as a black athlete unless you were kind of in a sport by yourself, like tennis or something like that. But even then, it still wasn't the same. It was just the dynamic of America. You got to understand, 70s, that's on the heels of the 60s, the civil rights era. It was still going on. I mean, it wasn't that far removed from, King being assassinated, Malcolm X being assassinated, the Panthers being destroyed. It was a lot of turmoil in the country during that time. So that was the mindset of a lot of people in corporate America and the TV networks, the people that cut big checks. David Stern changed all that. When a new wave of talent, riding that wave with Magic and Bird, then you add in the new wave of talent players with flair and personality. They came in 1984. You had Isaiah Thomas. They came in a couple years earlier in '82. Then you had Michael Jordan in '84 with Charles Barkley and all those guys, and then eventually Patrick Ewing, Carmelo, Hakeem Olajuwon, John Stockton, and all that. But it really was Jordan who led the way with that new explosion that really, took it to the next level, took the game to what we know what it is today. Stern was the genius as far as understanding how to market these guys. You know what? Fine. If you don't think black athletes can be marketed, maybe if the public get to know them, then they can relate and understand that they're just normal human beings like everyone else. And it was brilliant. That's what they did. All the videos started coming out, Come Fly With Me, you know what I'm saying? And then slowly but surely, corporate America and TV networks started coming on. I mean, can you picture the finals being on tape delay now? You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally listening to it on the radio. We know what happened, but we got to wait hours after the game to actually see it. people would lose their minds today. I mean, you can't even comprehend that, but that's what was going on back even even as late as the early '80s. It was unbelievable. Um, then obviously, riding that Jordan phenomenon and making a rule where NBA players can participate in the Olympics, which globalized the game. I've heard Manu Ginobili, Pau Gasol, Dirk Nowitzki, uh, Marc Gasol, Tony Parker. Those guys credited the Dream Team as being the first time they really saw the NBA live, and we all know how that inspired them and how they came to the NBA, did the damage they did. They inspire future generations of players themselves. So all that could be translated back to the '92 Dream Team. Um, and that was just a perfect culmination of what he did at that time with Magic, Bird, having all of them on the one team. It was just a worldwide phenomenon. We would never see nothing like that again. And that was just his genius to understand that, taking the league into the internet age, continuing to globalize the league to the point where now you have to be a fool not to be a brand in the NBA. Like, you have to just be lazy. You have to, you just really just don't want that. The moment you're drafted, you're a brand. The moment you're an NBA prospect, you're a brand. Hell, now, honestly, if you're a top high school prospect, you're a brand because they're projecting you to do damage in college and become an NBA player. So all that wouldn't be possible without David Stern. Now, he had the dark side as well. You ain't want any parts of that smoke. I'm trying to tell you, he if you cross the line, he would get on you. And plenty of people have tried. He had no tolerance for foolishness. If you came to talk to him, you better come with some facts. You better come correct because he would make you look stupid. And he had no problem doing it in private, and he had no problem doing it in public. He just ain't had time for the foolishness. Now, if you came with facts and you came correct, he will respect you and give you time and stuff like that. And he would treat you as an individual because he would understand you took the game serious. You took what his position was serious, and he would give you the time of day. If you came with other BS, I feel sorry for you. It's gonna get ugly. You're gonna be embarrassed. It's simple as that. One situation, he walked in the locker room during the 2011 All-Star game after the players and owners couldn't come to an agreement and actually got further apart. He walked in the locker room and he threatened the players. And he talked to the reporters afterwards. He said, if this isn't resolved, there will be casualties. He said, and I know where the bodies are buried in the NBA because I put some of them there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you let it be known, y'all get this together. Obviously, they got it together, didn't they? So, he guided the league through Magic's HIV announcement and retirement, Jordan's gambling, the malice at the Palace, who could forget about that? Tim Donaghy, who bet on games, the rogue ref who purposely made wrong calls, betting, Donald Sterling and his racial, disturbance out in LA and stuff like that, man. He got to lead through all that. And the game just continued to grow worldwide. And obviously one of his most important things that I'm most happy he did, the creation and progress of the WNBA, man. The WNBA isn't where I would like it to be, obviously, but to just start a women's pro league and giving them the resources to try to build this thing up to the point where, I have a young daughter who's 4 and 3. In the future, if they choose to play basketball and they become good enough to potentially play in the WNBA, they can actually make a living off playing the game they love here in the States instead of back in the day where they would have to literally just go overseas to make the money. And it's still not where it should be because clearly they make more money overseas now. But it's an option. You know what I'm saying? Back then they had no option. He was responsible for that. So the game wouldn't be what it is without David Stern. So with that, I say rest in peace, and you will be missed. And that will end today's show. We'll be back soon. I'll let you guys know, and just expect a lot of content coming. I'm going to bring it. So rock with me.